Josh Gates just made a $1 million archaeological discovery while filming Expedition Unknown. Hidden deep inside Llama Cave, he uncovered 5 ancient skeletons that left everyone amazed. Experts believe these remains might connect to the era of King Pelayo, a legendary ruler from Spain's early history. But could these bones finally unlock the truth behind long-lost tales of his reign? We will find out the actual truth behind this discovery that scientists don't want us to uncover. Inside the cave that hid a king, the episode is cleverly titled, Unveiling King Pelayo's Hidden Tomb. We're taken deep inside the Llama Cave to a part that stayed the same since the days of King Pelayo, a famous king from Spain's history. Our main goal in this exploration is to dig up proof that backs up the legendary stories about his rule. Finding these skeletons might just be a huge deal. The faint light from our torches casts spooky shadows over the remains, and a shiver runs down our spines. Before we dig deeper, it's clear that this discovery is far more important than anyone ever thought, and what comes next won't be the only thing that leaves you speechless. In the cave, we find these 5 skeletons spread out, which suggests this might have been a special burial site a long time ago. Each skeleton is placed around bits of broken stalactites, which makes us think they were laid there as part of some old rituals. Imagine people long ago, carrying these bodies along difficult paths, using just ropes and the light from their torches. The flickering light would make eerie shadows, making it feel like we're entering a world of the dead. This place gives us a rare peek into how people used to bury their dead. It looks like this spot was picked for its sacredness, probably used for funerals. Sadly, we don't find any old clothes or fabrics because they haven't lasted through the years. But we did find something else that's pretty interesting, a belt buckle made of iron with bits of silver and brass, and it's got a cross on it. This could mean these were Christian burials, though there are also signs of older, pagan traditions. The few graves from King Pelayo's time that we've found tell us a lot. It seems like Christianity was just starting to spread but was still mixed with older pagan ways. This spot offers a unique look into a time when different beliefs and ways of life were side by side. This place has stood for over 1,000 years, which is amazing. But not everything has stayed perfect, the skulls, for example. You might wonder, where are the skulls? Well, they are here. But they've been badly broken, almost turned to dust. And it's not just one, every skull we've found has been smashed in the same way. This kind of damage shows that the people back then were really scared, so scared that they did extreme things to make sure these people couldn't come back. Back in the Middle Ages, many were afraid of the undead coming back to cause trouble. To prevent this, they sometimes buried people face down, put rocks in their mouths, or even drove stakes through their hearts. We don't know who these people were anymore, and the way they were buried just makes us more curious. This finding is important not just because of how they were buried but because it makes us question the ideal images we have of historical figures like King Pelayo and his followers, who are often seen as heroes. Let's keep digging into what these ancient remains can teach us about the past. There's more to this story, though. Even small things we find can teach us about past beliefs and customs. Take, for example, the quartz arrowhead we found here at the sacred mountain in the kingdom of Kush, which was important in ancient Egypt's creation myths. This arrowhead, stuck in a skull, wasn't used for hunting but had a ceremonial role. This shows us there might have been ceremonial and maybe even violent interactions between the Kushites and their neighbors. This discovery doesn't just give us more info on how Kush might have used its sacred status to influence or control Egypt, but it also sheds light on the complex beliefs and practices that shaped the spiritual and physical battles of ancient civilizations. Arrowheads were a big deal for the early Kushite rulers. As the Kushite dynasty rose to power, these arrowheads were often found in their royal tombs, made from a unique reddish-orange stone. The ancient Egyptians called their land Tar Seti, which means, land of the bow, highlighting the Kushites' great skill in archery. As we step away from King Pelayo's resting place, the desert of ancient Kush waits for us. The Kushites were so good with the bow and arrow that they were often hired as mercenaries by the Egyptians. Their accuracy, especially in hitting the eyes of their targets, was so renowned that the Arabs called them eye smashers. This archery skill helped them not only in battles but also in taking control of Egypt during the 25th dynasty and keeping power in their homeland afterward. But their skills in battle weren't their only strength. At Jebel Barkal, you can see how they combined spiritual leadership with military power, which helped them keep control for so long. Their skills in both areas allowed them to rule as pharaohs and dominate the region for centuries. Despite their significant history, the tomb of a Kushite king had never been found, until now. Recent discoveries might uncover important artifacts that could change what we know about the Kushite civilization. Picture yourself in a vast, hot desert where a team of eager archaeologists is slowly brushing off layers of sand. They are on the hunt for any sign of ancient people who lived long ago. The sun is blazing, but the team continues their careful search, each sweep of the brush bringing them closer to a possible big find. As they dig, one of the team members hits something small but significant. It's a piece of gold, tiny like a button, likely worn on the toe or finger of someone very important, probably a king, at the time of their burial. This small gold piece lights up the mood among the team, sparking shouts and excitement all around. "Look at this," one archaeologist calls out, lifting the shiny gold high in the air for everyone to see. The discovery draws the whole group closer, their faces full of wonder and excitement. They discuss how this tiny golden piece might just be a clue that they are near the king's final resting place. It's not just any find, it's a hint that might lead them to something much bigger buried beneath the sand. These small golden items, known as stalls, were more than just pretty things. They signified someone's high status and were meant to help protect them after death, guiding them safely to what comes next. Famous rulers like Tutankhamun were buried with these items as a sign of their importance and to ensure their safety in the afterlife. Finding something like this isn't common, and it connects the team directly to the past in a way few people experience. They examine the golden cap closely, imagining where it came from and the stories it could tell if it could talk. Each detail they uncover adds more to the story they are piecing together about who this person was and how they lived. With this exciting find, the team decides to take the gold piece back to their lab for a closer look. They suspect it might even contain pieces of bone, which could reveal even more about the king it belonged to. The possibility energizes the team, knowing they might be on the brink of discovering something about a person who lived thousands of years ago. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation. The archaeologists feel almost certain they are on the right track to finding the king's tomb. They talk about their next steps, knowing that every move now is crucial. They are aware this could be one of the biggest discoveries of their careers, and they are ready to follow wherever it leads. But as they are about to leave the site, one of the archaeologists stops. He's standing at the entrance of what could be the tomb and notices something unusual in the shadows. "Come this way," he says, guiding his colleague to a stone slab just inside the tomb's entrance. They carefully feel around the stone, noticing its smooth surface and the history it represents. Touching something that's been untouched for so long is a powerful moment, making them feel a deep connection to the ancient world. It's a reminder of why they do this work. Each touch, each find, brings them closer to understanding a past that most can only read about. That small piece of gold was only the start. What's hidden under the stone could change everything we thought we knew about the Kushite kings. The slab that hides an ancient king. As they explore further, they start to see that the tomb might be more complex than they first thought. The discovery of the golden cap was just the start. More clues seem to be hidden deeper inside, each one potentially more revealing than the last. One of the archaeologists, Piers Paul, runs his fingers over the stone slab's surface. He stops suddenly, sensing a difference in the texture. "Wait a moment," he says, calling me over with a calm voice tinged with excitement. "Put your hand here, right where mine is." I do as he says, and I'm surprised to feel a different texture under my fingers compared to the smooth stone around it. We're both drawn into examining this new finding more closely, wondering what it might tell us about the tomb and the person it was built for. As we look more, we start to wonder if this part of the tomb was damaged by something recent. Pierce thinks it might be from the ceiling collapsing at some point, which could have broken this part of the stone. The more we discuss, the more we realize how many questions we still have to answer. This process, digging, discovering, and discussing, draws us deeper into the layers of history buried beneath us. Each layer we uncover tells us more about the lives of those who came before us, connecting us to a past that feels both incredibly distant and surprisingly close. As we continue our work, we know we're just scratching the surface. There's so much more to discover here, each find potentially altering our understanding of this ancient king and his world. The thrill of discovery keeps us going, eager to see what things the next layer of sand will reveal. This isn't just about finding things, it's about connecting with history on a personal level, touching the very artifacts that were once part of someone's life. It's a path that continues to fascinate and inspire, reminding us that the past is always just beneath the surface, waiting to be rediscovered. Each day brings new possibilities, and every find is a step closer to unraveling the story of a time long gone but never truly forgotten. The piece we found missing from the site wasn't just a small detail. It suggested that something big had happened here, something that might have even changed the layout of the ancient tomb we were exploring. As we thought about it, another idea started to take shape in our heads. Pierce Paul, one of our team members, suggested sliding our hand under the stone slab where there was a visible crack. When I followed his suggestion and slid my hand under the slab, I felt the cold stone. As I moved my fingers around, I discovered something unexpected. There was a space beneath the slab. This was more than just a simple crack. I realized it was hollow underneath. This discovery filled me with a sense of excitement and awe. Pierce Paul realized it too. He said that this wasn't just any floor stone. It was actually the lid of a sarcophagus, a stone coffin. The realization hit us hard. This stone lid had likely been untouched for thousands of years, possibly since the day it was sealed. The idea of what might be underneath was exciting but also came with the realization of the risks involved. The tomb was clearly not in stable condition, and opening it might cause it to collapse, potentially losing whatever was inside forever. Considering the danger, we decided to move to a safer part of the tomb to discuss our next steps. We were still buzzing with the excitement of our find as we tried to figure out what we had uncovered. I explained to the others that this slab was actually the top of a burial container. I was convinced that something significant was hidden underneath, something that had been out of sight for countless generations. Now the big question was what we should do next. The possibilities before us were exciting, each option more intriguing than the last. With every stone we move, the past gets closer, and now, as we get ready to lift the slab, it feels like the biggest discovery is just ahead. The gold that shines through time. However, this was just the start of our exploration. Pierce Paul was already thinking about what we needed to do immediately. He suggested we begin removing some of the debris right away, excited by the potential discoveries waiting for us. The idea of digging beneath the stone was thrilling but also daunting. We were on the verge of uncovering things from an ancient civilization that had been lost to time. Our excitement was tempered by the knowledge that we were walking a fine line between discovery and disaster. The tomb was fragile, and any wrong move could cause everything to collapse around us. But the chance to discover what was beneath was too tempting to resist. We knew the risks, but we also knew we couldn't turn back now. The things of the past were almost within our reach. And we were determined to uncover them, no matter the risks involved. Each discovery brought us closer to understanding the ancient stories that had been buried with time. We named this place King Nasterson's Hidden Domain, reflecting the potential connection to a historical figure. What we would find next could change everything, but it was unclear if it would be for better or worse. The only thing we knew for sure was that our exploration had taken a significant new turn, and there was no turning back. By 10 o'clock and 9 minutes, the excitement among the team was palpable. As we looked into the submerged burial chamber of King Nasterson, we saw something incredible, a broken sarcophagus lid. This might be the first ever look at the remains of a Kush king in his own tomb. Back at our excavation tent, as we sifted through the findings, something shiny caught our eyes, a glimpse of gold among the artifacts. For those of us used to such discoveries, finding gold might not be surprising, but the thought of entering this ancient tomb and seeing gold still shining as it did thousands of years ago was thrilling. This thin gold foil might have once covered everything in the chambers, from pottery offerings to the massive stone slab at the center of the tomb. The entire room might have once been a dazzling display of wealth, now to be carefully catalogued, one tiny piece at a time. Handling these old artifacts with care, the sensation of touching something from so long ago was incredibly powerful. It felt truly remarkable. Tracy, a co-worker who shared my fascination, agreed wholeheartedly. She cradled a piece of pottery that was more than 2,000 years old, which might have once contained offerings intended for King Nasterson's life after death. Imagining this artifact remaining so perfectly preserved and beautiful despite spending millennia shrouded in complete darkness was astonishing. Yet, there was much more awaiting us. We came across another fragment of stone that appeared to be Portland stone, marked with intricate patterns. This find was particularly extraordinary. Driven by a desire to uncover more about the ancient relics lying beneath us, I decided to bring the carved stone up to the surface for a closer examination. This was merely the start of what could lead to even more impressive discoveries. Our next task was to figure out the background of a sandstone statue that looked to be about 1,000 years old and seemed to carry significant historical value. In the vicinity, we found a piece that resembled the Naga serpent, pointing to a possible link to ancient protective spirits. Additionally, other fragments we found submerged in water nearby hinted at a broader area needing exploration. As the dig continued, we came across ancient writings that were covered in grime and needed cleaning to be readable. After being carefully cleaned, a mosaic that had endured for 14 centuries was revealed in extraordinary detail, displaying almost a full text that caught scholars off guard. It explicitly mentioned St. Peter, a crucial figure among the early followers of Christianity. This find, possibly connected to a Byzantine basilica believed to have been constructed where Peter, Andrew, and Philip once lived, offered rare and convincing evidence of notable historical events tied to the Holy Land. Exploring further, we carefully lifted each artifact, brushing away centuries of dust. Each item brought a new wave of excitement and curiosity. As we delved deeper, we discovered more relics, each telling a part of the story of those who once walked these lands. Coins, jewelry, and even personal items like combs and tools were unearthed. These finds painted a vivid picture of daily life thousands of years ago, bridging the gap between past and present. Is Josh Gates' discovery just an ancient find, or could it rewrite what we know about King Pelayo's reign? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.